Chinese companies based in Australia, it's been revealed this week, shipped tons of medical supplies from our shores to Wuhan back in January and February to deal with the coronavirus crisis, including medical gloves and protective coveralls, leading to a lot of our supplies now being in short supply. I'm joined by the host of Sky News Outsiders, Rowan Dean, via Skype. Rowan, great to have your company, even if you are remote. It's great to have you on the show. We saw a story in the Sydney Morning Herald about a company called Greenland Australia. It's sort of an apartment property management sort of company. It's not a medical company, but very early on they went around, maybe on instructions from the government in China, buying up whatever they could. The list I've got here is surgical masks, thermometers, antibacterial wipes, sanitisers, gloves, Panadol, etc. Stripped things out. 3 million masks went. We know there's only one company in Australia that actually make masks, and that's been now followed up with another company, also property management, all flown out on a private jet back into China. What do you make of it?
Well, what an extraordinary metaphor for everything we've long suspected about China. Here you have a property company buying and selling real estate in Australia. Fantastic. Good on them. Good luck. When it was clear that the China virus, the Wuhan virus, was getting out of control, at the same time as they and the World Health Organization were telling the rest of the world, oh, no, nothing to worry about here, don't worry about this, here they were rushing around our shops and our warehouses, buying up as much of the critical gloves, as you said, not just a few, Peter. This was pallets and pallets, hundreds of thousands of hazmat suits, gloves, masks, the sort of stuff that we desperately need now but don't have because they bought it all up and took it back to China. And this is the whole thing that we've long suspected, with China basically treats us like a shopping mall that it can come in and just strip away whatever it wants and take it back home. We've had it with baby powder, we've had it with everything else. Now, as I say, there's nothing wrong. We're a capitalist society, so we like buying and selling. But with real friends, that would not be the case. With real friends, the Chinese government would have said to the Australian government, hang on, we've got a bit of a problem here, anything you can do to help us out, rather than sneaking around buying up everything from every supermarket and every place that they could get their hands on.
Yeah, and let me just jump in there. And they were doing it at a time in January that they were critical when we shut our borders, concerned about what was happening in Wuhan. And earlier than that, remember, it was very hard to get fair information out of China as to the extent of the disease outbreak, and in fact the doctors that went public found themselves in a lot of trouble. So they were under the cover of saying nothing to see here, buying up all of this equipment. You're absolutely right. We're talking about 700,000 hazmat suits in the case of the Greenland group, 500,000 pairs of gloves, protective overalls, etc. All of this stuff was flown out on private planes. It didn't go through the normal freight systems, which tells me also that there's an intent here that's not in Australia's best interest.
Oh, 100%. And I think there's a couple of great articles written this week, one by Terry Barnes and one by David Flint, both in The Spectator, were saying, when are we going to turn around and say to the Chinese, you actually owe us a lot of money, apart from rushing off and buying everything so that we don't have the goods, our own goods, now that we need them. The damage is done to the world by the Chinese cover-up, and the Chinese insistence that there was no danger to the rest of the world is running into the trillions of dollars, literally. We should be turning around and asking for reparations. We should be saying, I'm sorry, if you were a firm who'd done this, who'd spilled oil in the Great Barrier Reef or whatever it might be, we would be demanding massive reparations. We should be doing the very same of China, because as you say, Peter, it's clear that their intentions were not strictly above board. They were saying one thing publicly. In the background, they were telling all their Chinese companies in Australia, and we've always said these Chinese companies are really just a front for the communist government. They don't have that separation between corporation and state that we do.